Welcome back, folks. Jay Pitts here with Gabe Pruitt. Gabe, what's up, man?
How's it going?
Dude, there's no easy way to say this.
There's not, is there?
There is no easy way to say this. No, folks, I guess I'm speaking with a little bit of code there, but no, that's what I was really doing is leading into the topic for today's show. I feel like I should be twisting my mustache right now, but no. There's no easy way to say this. Gabe, tell our listeners what I mean by there's no easy way to say this.
Well, this episode's been a long time coming because this is something that we talk about in our office a lot. This is a topic that gets a lot of airtime among our team members, but we haven't really taken some time to dive into it on the show. What we're talking about is one simple skill that if you focus on developing this year will set you leagues ahead of your competition. One skill that most agents fail to develop or they have no desire to develop. And that skill is being able to effectively, keyword effectively, have difficult conversations with your clients.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There is no single differentiating factor that is more impactful in building a great business.
Oh, yeah.
So, if you rewind a couple of weeks, we talked about efficiency, okay? And efficiency is defined by, it's really hard to get people to, it's hard enough to get people to buy a house, right? You got to find the one, it's got to look right, it's got to be in the area, it's got to be the price range, it's got to be this, that. They got the fear of missing out, like that something else is going to come on the market better 2 days later. Like it's really hard to get someone to commit.
Right.
So efficiency means getting those offers accepted, but it also means holding them together once you have a transaction. A lot of times people will take that knee-jerk reaction and that opportunity to escape a transaction, and having a difficult conversation, okay, when it needs to be had, is a way to effectively hold those transactions together, ultimately doing what's right for the buyer.
Right.
Okay, or the seller, conversely. But yeah, having a difficult conversation is a skill that sets you apart.
And what you're talking about is how critical it is during the transaction, but also being able to have this conversation at the appropriate time can have a huge ripple effect after the transaction. Last week we talked about how to make sure you make a lasting impression so that your clients remember you, and more importantly, so that they know, like, and trust you. And not every one of your clients is going to be perfect. Sometimes we deal with some more difficult than other clients. So we know that's true. Or some people just aren't the type of people that we gel with. But when some people have very fastly held preconceived notions that maybe could cause them trouble, it can be tempting to just let it slide and not mention it and just to cross your fingers and hope for the best. But if you want to do what's best for your clients, sometimes being able to have that conversation with them can be daunting because you're afraid of either losing a client or alienating them, when really being able to do this well can put you in better rapport and lead to future referrals, lead to future transactions, and a better relationship overall.
No, absolutely. And tense situations, what do they say? Pressure makes pearls, right?
Right.
So tense situations give you an opportunity. When everything goes well and is rosy, you may leave an impression on a client that you created those circumstances, but you really hadn't been tested. So those tense situations where you must have those difficult conversations, challenging conversations, tell people things they don't want to hear, and do it effectively, really, really like skyrockets your potential for creating a lasting impression and an impactful relationship.
Right.
Which are the most supportive kind. It's the most supportive kind of relationships. So yeah, man, I'm excited to kind of dig in.
Well, let's do it. Let's bring everybody in for a second and make sure we're all on the same page. When we say difficult conversations, what are some examples of difficult conversations that you might have with your clients in the course of a transaction?
Well, I mean, very simply put, you can kind of think about every single kind of sales opposition you may meet, right? And we all know that real estate sales is a different kind of sales. I often say that home purchasing is not a process of selection; it's a process of elimination because of the logistics that go into it and how much it affects someone's daily lives. They very rarely end up selecting the perfect home. They select the perfect home from the options available within the time constraints.
Right.
So, I know I bought my house 9 years ago. I might have had a more perfect home available to me, and I'm probably closer to selecting than I am eliminating. But the truth is I surveyed the options available within my time constraints, and I selected one. I think most buyers are that way. So any sales opposition, any traditional kind of resistance that is met is a potential difficult conversation, something that must be remedied by a qualified professional. So think on the listing side, if you're going to list someone's home, it could be something as simple as when to go to market. It can be something as complex as, pricing with a lot of variables at play.
Yep.
But we certainly...
Or changing the price later on down the road.
Changing the price when you're already listed, what commission you charge and why, and what's the value attached and associated with all of that. Any of those are potential difficult situations. It could be that the odor in the home is... not appealing to prospective buyers, and you're having to explain that to a seller who thinks their home is fantastic.
Mm-hmm. It could be negotiating your commission as soon as you meet the person, while you're trying to get their business, which makes it even more delicate because you want them to list with you.
It could be not negotiating your commission the second you meet them, because it's not fair to anyone involved to talk about commission before we talk about value.
Right.
Okay. Well, why do you need to know what the price is when you don't really know what the service is?
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Yep. So it sounds like you've been in this situation before.
A million times.
Yeah. So when you're up against somebody that seems, I don't want to use the word hard-headed, but I'm going to use the word hard-headed. So when you're up against somebody that, they know what they want, they know what they think, and that's it. It can be very easy to look at a situation where it's like, what's one point on my commission? I get nothing if I don't list it today, so I might as well just bow out here and take what I can get. That's a very real temptation while you're taking a listing, but why is it important to stand your ground, and what could you potentially gain beyond just one more point on your commission by standing your ground and trying to prove your value?
By holding commission, what can you gain? Respect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Respect. You transcend the service provided, right? Like, and what expectations of that service are when you hold your ground, when you have a difficult conversation. Really, the number's arbitrary, Gabe. We can talk about commission objections until the cows come home, right? The only thing that and I know it's become sales cliche, but like price only matters in the absence of value, like that statement.
Yeah.
I think I saw the broke agent. Are you familiar?
Yeah. Oh,
okay,
yeah.
With like he and like the sunny side of real estate, like the industry, fodder, humor.
Oh, yeah.
Humor fodder that's out there. I think I saw him cracking on that very statement. Absence or price in absence of value, etc. Yeah. The truth is that people do look for value. They're looking for value, and all they're telling you when they don't like your commission percentage is that they don't feel like, or they're not convinced that your service is worth it.
You haven't proved me yet.
You haven't proved it yet. If I told you, Gabe, that I could get you 7% more for your house and I'm only going to charge 6%, you're not going to argue with me.
That's a no-brainer.
If you believe it, there's no argument to be had.
Sure.
Right? And that's an expression of value. So objections, I think we're kind of
I want to be careful.
We're skirting around the issue here.
Yeah.
Okay, but the simple point is that having a difficult conversation effectively surrounding any objection, 360 degrees and anywhere in between within our industry, it helps you take control of a situation. Okay? So I talked about in our meeting this morning, the best salespeople take control of a situation. Okay? Their clients, when they know you're in control, they submit to the process. Okay? So now we're talking about outcomes rather than process, but there's all sorts of different opportunities to have a difficult conversation.
Well, there's obviously a lot of clear benefits. Why do you think that most agents are either unwilling or unable to do this effectively?
Well, they're unwilling because it makes them uncomfortable. The truth is, I mean, that's the truth.
Yeah.
They're uncomfortable and they know they're not prepared. Okay, so.
And I think it's important what you said a minute ago. Prepared goes far beyond memorizing your list of objection handlers. I mean, we're not talking about know the right words to say. It's about knowing how to say them and when to say them. It goes a lot farther than just knowing the right words.
Absolutely. And this, we could go into NLP. We've touched on that numerous times. You know, I think that we're going to probably save that for a later episode. But I really think that an agent's value is in how they make the client feel.
Yeah.
And having the difficult conversation effectively, knowing when to say, what to say, how to say, that's where you really get to a place where the customer will submit to you and allow you to take full control of the situation. And the only way that they're capable of doing that is if they know you are credible and they're in good hands.